Hi friends and subscribers, and happy Doctor Who Day. 62 years since the show first launched, so I thought I'd do an update on my Doctor Who DVD collection. Now I'm going to make this a two-parter, so in part one I'm going to show all the classic Doctor Who DVDs that I have, and then in part two I'm going to show the all the modern Doctor Who DVDs that I have. So let's start. So first up, starting with the first Doctor, William Hartnell, and the very first story, The Unearthly Child. Now I know this is part of the beginning box set, which also has the Daleks and Edge of Destruction, but I bought this second hand from CEX, and yeah, it wasn't in a box set when I bought it, so yeah, but so that means I'll have to look for it means I'll have to see if I can find an individual copy of the Daleks and Edge of Destruction, or I could just buy the box set and then sell this copy. Dalek Invasion of Earth, one of my favourites. The Time Meddler, and it's still got the CEX sticker on it. £3 I paid for that. And Galaxy 4 animated reconstruction. Celestial Toymaker animated reconstruction. I really enjoyed this one. And the War Machines. So I should also say that all the ones I'm showing here are the individual ones, and then at the end of this video I will show the box sets that I have. And Hartnell's final story, The 10th Planet, introduces the Cybermen, of course. Fantastic story. And then on to the second Doctor, Patrick Troughton. I don't actually have a lot of Troughton. I've got Evil of the Daleks animated reconstruction. Really enjoyed this story. And this one's called the Cybermen. So this is from the Monster Collection. And yes, this has Tomb of the Cybermen on it, but it also includes Rise of the Cybermen and Age of Steel with David Tennant. But yeah, I only bought this. Yeah, I bought this from Comic-Con back in 2019, and yeah, I only bought it because it has Tomb of the Cybermen on it, which I didn't have. And The Invasion, another great Cybermen story. The Crotons. Seeds of Death. And yes, I do have the War Games in colour. Yeah, this has both versions. It has the original 10-parter that was in black and white, of course, and it has the 75-minute colorization. So yeah, it's a really nice DVD. And now we're on to the third Doctor, Jon Pertwee. So first up, Spearhead from Space, one of my favourite stories, just one of my favourite introductions to a new Doctor. The Ambassadors of Death. Inferno. The Claws of Axos. Day of the Daleks. This has the original broadcast version and the special edition version. I enjoy both versions. I know a lot of people don't like the original version because they don't like how the Dalek voices sound. I never minded that. I used to watch this on VHS all the time, and I never really minded that. It was always one of my favourite stories. The Mutants, not as bad as it's made out to be. You know, I'd rather watch that than the Reality War. I'm telling you now. 3 Doctors, the first multi-Doctor story. Yeah, this is a great story. Frontier in Space. It says not to be sold separately. This is because this is from the Dalek War box set. Yeah, I've got both of the DVDs that come from this box set, but I don't have the box itself. And then Planet of the Daleks. So this is the other DVD that's in the Dalek War box set. Yeah, love this story. And The Green Death, Joe Grant's final story, and yeah, this is a great story. And then The Time Warrior, Sarah Jane's first story, and also the first appearance of a Sontaran. And then the last John Pertwee one I have is Planet of the Spiders. Yeah, I love this story. And then on to my favourite Doctor of all time, Tom Baker, 4th Doctor. Robots, The Ark in Space, awesome. Sontaran Experiment, Revenge of the Cybermen, and this one is from the this one's from a box set which also includes Silver Nemesis. But yeah, this was a second-hand DVD, so it didn't come with the box, and I actually don't own a copy of Silver Nemesis, so I'm gonna have to look for a copy of Silver Nemesis if I can find one on its own. Planet of Evil. This is the only season 13 story I've got, so yeah, you know, season 13 is one of the best seasons of classic Doctor Who, and I've only got one story from it, so yeah, I want to get Pyramids of Mars and Brain and Morbius, Terror of the Zygons, Android Invasion, and The Seeds of Doom. You know, Christmas is coming up, so let's wait and see what I get. Hand of Fear, Sarah Jane's final story. Well, final classic story, I should say. Before but she did return for the 5 Doctors, so technically it's not her final classic Doctor Who appearance. The Deadly Assassin, fantastic story, the only classic Doctor Who story where the Doctor doesn't have a companion. And yeah, and I love the Master in this one. Talons of Weng Chiang, one of my favourite Doctor Who stories of all time. This was the very first Doctor Who story that I owned on VHS. I played it over and over, just absolutely loved it. Horror of Fang Rock, another fantastic story. Invisible Enemy, introduces K9. I believe this one's part of a box set. I think this one's from the K9 Tales box set, which I don't have. I've got this one individually. Invasion of Time. Some fans aren't keen on this one, but I've always loved it. The Sontarans on Gallifrey. And then City of Death, another one of my absolute favourites. And this one's from the DVD files. the DVD Files series. And the last Tom Baker one I've got is The Keeper of Traken. So yeah, I need to get more Tom Baker, as he is my favourite. And next up is the Fifth Doctor, Peter Davison. So first up is Castrovalva. Not one of my favourite introductions to a new Doctor, but it's still a good story. I do like it, I do enjoy it. Fort of Doomsday. The Visitation. Black Orchid. I love the Black Orchid a lot. Some fans are not too keen on it, but I enjoyed it. Earthshock. One of my favourites. Probably my favourite Peter Davison story, actually. Although Resurrection of the Daleks is up there as well. And Time Flight. Another story that gets a lot of shit from fans. I don't think it's that bad. You know, especially when you compare it to the Reality War. And yes, I almost have season 19 complete. The only one I'm missing is Kinder. That's the only one I need to complete season 19. And then Arc of Infinity. Great story. It's got Omega in it, of course. The proper Omega, not that giant CGI skeleton that we saw in the Reality War. As far as I'm concerned, that is not Omega. That was just an abomination. And then the Five Doctors special. Was it special? No, the 25th anniversary edition. The original release was called the Special Edition. Yeah, this has both the original broadcast version and the 1995 Special Edition. So yeah, that's the one to get. And then Peter Davison's final story, The Caves of Androzani. One of the best regeneration stories ever. And then on to the Sixth Doctor, Colin Baker. I've only got a few of his. So I have Vengeance on Varos. I like the Sixth Doctor. I think a lot of people just judge him based on his first story, The Twin Dilemma, which I'd say is probably one of the worst introductions. It's probably the worst introduction to a new Doctor, which is why I wish that Attack of the Cybermen had been his first story, because that's a great story. That would have been the best way to begin his era. Mark of the Rani. Another great story. One of my favourites, The Two Doctors, and I had this one signed by Colin Baker, who I met at Comic-Con back in 2019. So yeah, he signed this for me. Such a nice guy he was. And then Time Lash. So I've got almost all of Colin Baker. I only need Twin Dilemma, Attack of the Cybermen, and Trial of a Time Lord to complete Colin Baker. I do have Revelation of the Daleks, but I've got that in the Davros collection box set, which I will show later on. And then on to Sylvester McCoy, Seventh Doctor. Time and the Rani. Again, I like Time and the Rani. You know, it's very camp, but it's fun. You know, I have a soft spot for a lot of these camp Seventh Doctor stories. Delta and the Bannerman. Dragonfire. And of course, this came in the Ace box set, along with Happiness Patrol. I've got both of them stories right here, but I don't have the box itself. But yeah, Dragonfire, great story, fantastic story. And of course, Happiness Patrol. You know, Again, very camp, but it's good fun. That's what Doctor Who's all about, really, isn't it? It's good fun. Greatest show in the galaxy. And I have all of season 26. So I've got Battlefield, last appearance of the Brigadier. Although he did go on to appear in Dimensions in Time, and he also appeared in the Sarah Jane Adventures. But this was his last appearance in the classic series. Yeah, great story. Ghost Lights. Not one of my favourite stories, but I still enjoy it. Curse of Fenric. Great story. And then the final classic story, Survival. Great, just a great end to the classic era. Even though I think it would have been interesting to see how the show would have turned out if it had continued into the 90s. You know, there's a lot of like what if scenarios about that, and one day I might actually do a video on that. The only reason I haven't is because a lot of people have done it already, but yeah, I might still do it. And I decided to include this as part of the classic DVDs because it has the same design as the classic DVDs. So yeah, here's the movie, the TV movie with Paul McGann as the brilliant 8th Doctor. And yeah, I enjoy the movie so much. And I have it signed by Sylvester McCoy. So yeah, he signed that for me. So I've got 2 Doctor Who DVDs signed by 2 different Doctors. So that's it for the individual DVDs, and now we're on to the box sets. So I have the Lost in Time box set, which, I mean, it is a little bit obsolete now because a lot of these missing stories have now they've either been found or animated. And I think once all the stories have been found, well, even if the ones that are still missing don't get found, they'll be animated, definitely. So that means that this will become obsolete. But yeah, it's still nice to have. You know, at the time this came out, this was a big deal. And I've got the Rescue and the Romans box set, the Space Museum, and the Chase. I love the Chase. Beneath the Surface, which is all the Silurian stories. So we have Doctor Who and the Silurians, the Sea Devils, and Warriors of the Deep. And then the Black Guardian trilogy, Mawdryn Undead, Terminus, and Enlightenment. I love Mawdryn Undead. And then the Davros collection, and this is a limited edition. So this has Genesis of the Daleks, Destiny of the Daleks, Resurrection of the Daleks, Revelation of the Daleks, and Remembrance of the Daleks. So yeah, it's a great box set. And before I end the video, I might as well show this as well. This is the Peter Cushing Dalek movies collection. I know it's not part of the classic series, but you know, they're not canon, but they are adaptations from 2 of the classic TV stories. So I thought, you know, yeah, I wasn't sure which part to include them, so I decided to include them with the classics. But yeah, I enjoyed both of these. I mean, I suppose they are canon in some way. In the novelisation of Day of the Doctor, they're mentioned as in-universe movies after Ian and Barbara had left the Doctor. I think they sold their story and then it was made into these 2 movies. Yeah, I think they were going to include that in the episode, but it was due to like copyright reasons they couldn't do that. But yeah, I do consider them to be canon in a sense that they're in-universe films, but there you go. So that's my classic Doctor Who DVD collection, and yeah, I know it's not complete, but it's still very extensive. But one day it shall be complete. Yes, it shall be complete.